So Webster defines the word perspective as a particular attitude towards something or a point of view. Now, we all know that that's the case. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. By the way, this is Andy Liechty with Andy Liechty Associates with FC Tucker, and coming to you as I always do every month with just an update on the real estate market. But as I always try to do in these, my goal is to try to alter your perspective and how we look at things. And I'm as guilty of this as everybody, right? And I don't care if it's about real estate. I don't care if it's about good things going on in my life, challenges that are going on in my life. That word perspective is just such a powerful word because it is our particular attitude towards something, right? And the reality of it is most of us, myself included, don't really have a good long-term perspective on things. The joke that I say a lot is, for a lot of us in our life, long-term planning is lunch, right? Hey, what am I going to do for lunch? And that we don't look much further than that. But with the real estate market right now, what is your perspective on that? And my goal today isn't to change anybody's minds on anything, but my goal is to give you a broader perspective of what is going on in the market right now, and then it maybe have you think about some things that may help you or someone that may be looking about making a move, and maybe they have a short-term perspective. Maybe they're just seeing kind of what's in front of them. That whole, hey, long-term planning's lunch, right? But maybe just thinking about it from a broader perspective and just seeing if how that changes our attitude toward it over time. So as I always do, I'm going to talk about the data that we have from the previous month. So this is February 21st right now. So the month of January, and I'm going to compare it to January of 2022, which was kind of a crazy time, right, in real estate. But then also I'm going to compare it to January of 2019 to again provide that broader perspective. And so right now, what we saw in Central Indiana here in the month of January is we saw that available homes shot up by 90.5% over a year ago at that time. So a lot more homes for sale on the market from a numbers perspective. Hamilton County, you shot up the most at 220%. So in there was more than double the amount of homes for sale, and more than quadruple, excuse me, the amount of homes for sale this January as opposed to the previous January. In the Marion County, you were up 92.4%. So we're seeing a surge in inventory compared to a year ago. And we're also seeing home sales drop, right? Down 14.2% across Central Indiana. Down 15.5% in Marion County. Actually, Hamilton County, home sales rose from a year ago, 5.4% in Hamilton County, because we had a lot more homes for sale, right? So and what I want to do is I want to compare that also with the perspective of 4 years ago, right? So 4 years ago, January 2019, what did that look like? Well, surprising to people in all of Central Indiana, we have 76.3% of homes available now that we did 4 years ago. However, we actually had a higher number of sales this January than we did in January of 2019. So think about that. We had a third less number of homes for sale across the Central Indiana area than we did 4 years ago, but we still had one more sale. And then specifically in Hamilton County, we only had in January 43.3% of the inventory in Hamilton County that we had 4 years ago. So 4 years ago in January of 2019, for every 10 homes that were for sale, right now there's a little over 4 of them for sale right now. So even though it's a 220% more than it was a year ago in Hamilton County, it's still nowhere near where it was 4 years ago. And that's also why in Hamilton County, we're still seeing home sales really kind of stay solid. And then in Marion County, 75%, technically 74.9%, but we'll round it up, of homes for sale in January 2023 compared to January of 2019. But only 36 fewer sales total out of that. So I'm throwing a lot of numbers at you right here, but the overall context that I'm trying to bring to you, that perspective that may help you shift your thoughts or your feelings or your attitude about it is what I've been saying a lot over the last few months, that yes, the market has slowed down. No, we're not seeing the insanity that we were seeing several months ago, but the market is still, we're still in a prolonged inventory shortage. And while there's fewer buyers out there right now because rates are much higher than they were a year ago when they were hovering around, 3.5%. And now they're, 6.5% to 7% right now. So that does reduce the buyer pool. There's no question about it. But this is still a good opportunity if you're looking to make a move. If you're a seller and you're looking to make a move, there's still not, historically speaking, a ton of homes for sale right now. Now there's fewer buyers, but if you know how to target market, you're an opportune buyer. If you know how to position your property to maximize the value. I was just talking with clients on Saturday morning about that, how we strategically do that at Andy Liechty Associates. There is still opportunities for you as a seller to prosper in this market. Buyers, because you have, in Hamilton County, 4 times the choices that you had a year ago, or across central Indiana in general, you have almost twice the choices that you had a year ago. You're going to have a little bit more time to just think about your options and not just feel like you're going to have to run and make an offer on the first thing that you see. So again, this perspective I think is really important, and I think it's really valuable. One of the things that I've talked about, in regards to perspective as well too, is I've talked about the interest rates. People are very concerned with interest rates, and it certainly is something that you want to think about. And it definitely has slowed down some home buyers. But one of the things I would encourage you to think about, since 1971, when they started tracking the average 30-year fixed interest rate, the average 30-year fixed interest rate over the last 52 years is 7.75%. 7.75% since January of 1971, the average all the way to January of 2023. That's the average. So right now we're at 6.5, we're at 7. So averages over a half a century would tell us that, hey, we're still a little bit below the average, which means statistically speaking, it's more likely to stay the same or maybe even go up a little bit than it is to go way down. So, again, from a statistical standpoint, if you're thinking, hey, I want to wait till rates crawl back down to, 4% or 3%, you may be waiting an awfully long time for that, 20, 30 years. If that's something that you want to do, that's certainly a legitimate option, but you really want to think about the historical context to kind of color that perspective. So I hope you found this valuable. There's a lot of other things that I could talk about with this as far as perspective in terms of months of inventory, in terms of sales to list price ratio. And to be quite candid, I think I've just found a couple of other topics for my next videos, but I don't want to keep this too incredibly long right now. But hopefully this has been helpful for you. This provided a wealth of information for you. And we have a lot more where that comes from. Our goal is to constantly be a megaphone to the marketplace in terms of giving you the most critical, pertinent information to help you prosper in this shifting real estate market. If you know someone that's looking about making a move and you'd like to get them in touch with somebody that stays on the cutting edge of this and that really is constantly looking all the time to put their clients in the proper positions to win, we'd love to chat with them. We'd love to chat with you. One of the things that we pride ourselves in is building lifelong clients. And we'd love for you to reach out and just learn a little bit more what we're about. I'm also going to put some links down below in the comments if it's on YouTube, or maybe up in the comments if it's on Facebook. I'm not sure. But click on some of those links. Learn about how we serve. That's what we're here to do. And as always, if you know somebody looking to make a move, we are never too busy for your referrals. Thanks so much.